Saturday, but guess what, you guys? We are here. It is Black Code Red, episode 6-ish.
Reload.
Reload it. Let's try it again. All right, you guys, it's Black Code Red right here with Frederick Wilson and Christian Whitfield is in the house. How we sound? Is it clear right now, Christian?
Yeah, we sound a little much better. What's going on? Happy election eve.
Same here, same here. Hope everybody is doing well. We're gonna get tune in to us on Facebook. Pretty please. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go share it. You share it on your keep sharing it.
It's like you're breaking up, brother.
I don't know why I break up. Everything was good.
I know.
Well,
It must be that raggedy computer you got.
I don't think that would be it. I do believe it'd probably be something that you're doing.
Nah, you good now. You good now.
All right. That's all right. Let's see. We got it going on. This is the day before the election, Christian Whitfield. This is the day before the election. But before we do that, of course, we gotta talk about. I see you, Sean. Hopefully the reverb is gone. I don't know why Christian stuff is breaking down like that, but who knows?
For you.
The day before the election, I have to announce that my Jaguars did not lose this weekend, baby. We did not lose this weekend. And this is the first weekend in about 5 weekends I can say that. So I'm very proud of my Jacksonville Jaguars. Christian, what you got to say about that?
My Dolphins won. Tua started. He had a decent game. You know what I'm saying? He did all right. But we took care of business.
Okay.
3 in a row.
That's all right. But like I said, but Jaguars did not lose this weekend, and that is a great freaking thing.
Yeah, because they ain't playing at all.
That's not important. That is not important.
Well,
the
anyway,
important thing is that they didn't lose. That's the important thing. Small victories. So don't hate on my Jaguars, man.
So
I send them boys to your house. You know what I'm saying? Sending boys to your house.
They can't get past my damn dog.
What you got, a little Chihuahua? What is it, a Shih Tzu? What you got?
Oh, it's a Lasha Apso.
What does that mean?
Gorgeous.
No. So
Mr. Sean Roberts said, no loss is a win. Yeah, exactly. No loss is a win.
Yeah. And did a shout out to the Texans too, Mr. Murdoch.
Texans ain't lose either.
That's right. Again, small victories. That's all we need.
They're playing weak opponents.
Hey, it don't matter. As long as you don't get no L in the book, that's all that matters.
That is all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Hey, y'all start a new quarterback next week too.
Yeah, because I man got a couple fractures on that. It's just not in the cards this year. But I do believe if I was a football head coach like the Jaguars, they don't stay but like 3 years max, 2-3 years. So the head coach we got right now, it's like his 4th year. So he's like a veteran, like he's like experienced.
Ain't got nothing to do with him.
I would love to be their realtor.
Khan don't want nothing to do with football.
It don't matter. I would like to be their realtor.
Khan is interested in is Lot J in Jacksonville real estate,
and he's doing a good job. He's getting it, ain't he? But I would really
getting it.
I would like to be the realtor to these head coaches in Jacksonville because I know I'm churning business every 2-3 years. Every 2-3 years, I'm selling your $1 million house. I know this.
You get a nice little commission.
Nice commission, guaranteed every 2-3 years. But that's all right. That's all right. Let's go ahead and get on down to business, though. Again, we had to end off our sports thing saying "Go Jags," and that's how we do that.
Anywho,
let's speaking of things happening in the city. Today is the eve of the election right here in Jacksonville. We're actually around the country. Election. It's election eve. And we got some things to talk about because a lot of people haven't voted. But then again, a ton of people have.
You think the election should be a federal holiday?
I do believe it should be. I believe it should be because I think one or two weeks. I mean, you can balance it out when we take a look, because I had this discussion before about other things that should be federal holidays. If you look at the price that it costs to make something a federal holiday to the country, it's a whole lot of money.
It is.
Yeah, so I just wonder if that money it could be better spent doing something else, especially when you have early voting all these different times. And again, as we talked before, when you do early voting, you don't have to go to your specific precinct. You can go to any library and other places, and they're open on Saturdays and Sundays. So you got 7 days, 7 days plus
Yeah, because we
to
did
get
2
it
weeks here
in.
in Jax.
Yeah, so I mean, you got plenty of time. So I don't know if we really want to make it a federal holiday and cost all that money. Now it would be nice, but again, on the side that's not paying the tab, it's nice to write. It's nice to go buy things when somebody else is using somebody else's checkbook. But in the grand scheme of things, if you got again 14 days in Jacksonville to go out and vote, and you can't make it happen because you need it to be a federal holiday, I don't. And then you got mail-in ballots,
Yeah.
and you got you got mail-in absentee ballots. So if you can do it that way, then do you really need to make a federal holiday?
So where's all this disenfranchisement nonsense coming from then? If you have all those means to vote, where's disenfranchisement coming in? And some voter suppression, where's that coming from?
Now, voter suppression, that's always the line that the Democrats like to use when it comes to getting things done when the numbers aren't right. They want to do that to start. What you do is you have to start planting seeds of dissension.
Absolutely.
early on. So if you need to pull those plants, they're already growing. Right. So to me, this voter suppression, I don't see it happening. I understand why someone argue, okay, you're shutting down precincts in certain areas, but if the numbers don't hold true to being able to keep these precincts open, then it just makes fiscal sense. Fiscal responsibility says you protect the taxpayers' money. Right. So you don't need to keep a precinct open when not enough people are going historically in those precincts to keep it open. So if you're not going anyway, me close it down, it's not that big of a deal. The few people that use it, I'm sure they would be inconvenienced, and I can understand it. But in the grand scheme of things, fiscally, I don't know if it's appropriate for it. At the same time, if you don't want your precinct closed, then make sure your people go out and vote. It's kind of like a catch-22. So as a supervised elections, they got to save money. But at the same time, other people looking at, okay, well, why are you closing down this areas? And the first thing, anytime you do something, well, just say in the last 10 years or so, anytime you do something to a black man, if you're not black, it's because of racism.
Right.
Yeah, it's no white man can do anything to a black person without it being racist. I can't not just like you as a human being is because you're black, or you could maybe even deserve the ill treatment that I'm giving you, but that couldn't be because after all you're black, so you got a free pass to act any kind of way you want to act and do all this stuff. So we have really swung that pendulum the wrong way and just holding it steady. So again, you got to find that balance. But the bottom line is nobody can keep you from voting with all the things that we have in place to make sure you vote. So,
and like Mr. Sean Roberts said, vote absentee. That's another means of voting, requesting that ballot. Of course, we had, that was one of the big things during this election cycle was states deciding that we're just going to mail people vote ballots, whether they request them or not. We just going to send ballots, tens of millions of ballots out to people in the state and let them do their thing. And of course, we know the pushback is voter fraud, and for some reason, people just don't believe that voter fraud exists. Like everyone's just honest. And we see it on both sides now, where individuals who have been busted, who've been arrested, who've gone to jail for voter fraud. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. It's been happening. We saw that in Chicago, and the Daily was doing that. That made famous in Chicago. What are you talking about? No voter fraud. It's power. All this power, all this influence, all this control over the whole country. And since this United States pretty much influencing the whole world, are you telling me you don't think people would be in here trying to cheat their way to get power?
Absolutely.
People kill for $1,000. Why would they not kill for a GDP with 400 million people pushing this GDP? Are you kidding
Absolutely.
me? Are you kidding me?
So that's why I wanted to ask you. I know we kind of veered off, but I wanted to ask you because I hear people talk about that a lot. Is whenever during election season, especially every 4 years when we have the presidential election, and we have of course, we have all of the House races are up, and we have a few Senate races that are up every 4 years. People ask that question. Well, should it be a federal holiday? But yeah, we've had a ton of people that have voted already. What you said? What was the numbers already so far? I know last week when we did our show, it was at 62 million last week.
Now, News for Jax, which is a local TV station here in Jacksonville, we're out of, says this came out about 3 hours ago. So 97 million Americans vote before polls open on election day. So 97 million people already.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So basically what the article says, like 24 hours before the polls election 24 hours. We're basically saying today, 94 million Americans have already cast their ballots. That's more than 2/3 of all votes in the 2016 election. In Florida and Georgia, we're at 93% turnout. 93% turnout. So tomorrow, of course, which is Super Tuesday, is the last day to vote for this presidential election. And it's saying by Monday morning, nearly 61 million mail ballots have been received by elections officials, and 35 million have voted in person. That's 63% of the potential voters in the United States and 70% of the number of votes cast in 2016.
So here's my prediction. It still doesn't cross. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to break 2016. 2016, there was estimated 138 million people voted. If we're at 97 million now, I just don't think you're going to get 38 million people to go out and vote tomorrow.
We'll
40
see.
million people. Yeah, and if it does beat last year, it won't beat it by, 2016, it won't beat it by much. We had 138 million 2016. I would say maybe if it does break, it'll probably be maybe 140, maybe 142. If which still it's a good percentage of increase of number of individuals who voted. That's a few million people more who voted, but we had 61, 71 million people who did not vote in 2016 at all. And then this year, you're only going to get maybe another 4 or 5 million. There's still a lot of people out there who are just so irritated and irritated with the system that they don't want to vote, want to be bothered at all. Which that's their right. You live that's the country you live in. You don't have to vote if you don't want to, and you're more than welcome to do that. But yeah, I just don't think we're going to crack that much.
My. I think we will if it keeps going this way.
That's a good question.
I do think that a whole lot of people are fed up with both politicians. I think that the younger crowd that we have, they have a different mindset than my generation or your generation. Your generation a little older than mine, Christian, but your generation, you baby boomers, Christian, the mindset's a little bit different. I think that these young cats, these young Thundercats, what they call them, young Thundercats, they are more radical, if you will. They're more twitchy. They're quicker to jump as opposed to
more emotional.
Yes, because we taught them that their emotions matter. We taught them that their emotions matter more than principle. We taught them to feel good better than do the right thing. And I think this is what a lot of these politicians are playing on, and it's kind of backfiring. If you look at the Biden campaign, and a lot of them just talk about racism. Biden, up to about 2 weeks ago, was always talking about how he's a nice guy. So his stuff is always talking about he's nice. He'll make you feel good. I know people saying, I like Biden because he doesn't say these mean things. Trump says these mean things during election. So Biden played on that. That's emotions. You look at Donald Trump now, he's come back and he's going back, even with this election, he's trying to stick on policies because he can't go on emotions because he really doesn't show anything, but she shoots off the cuff. He says stuff he don't need to say. He says stuff that's mean. He says stuff that people he knows good and well people are going to say is racist. And he just don't care. He still thinks that's going to be his winning formula. And I guess we'll see. We'll get a good taste of it tomorrow. Yeah, and tomorrow, if it's not big enough, but it might take some time to get the rest of the stuff out. But
that's done tomorrow. That's my prediction.
You think done tomorrow? You think there'll be a big enough gap to where the uncounted votes won't matter?
Yes, I think it's done tomorrow. I think Trump crosses 280 tomorrow, and that's going to be the magic number for him. I think I don't think the numbers in Pennsylvania are going to be as close as people think they are. Uh-huh. I could be wrong, that's why it's a guess. That's why, Yeah. But in my gut feeling says he gets to 280 tomorrow, and there's not going to be a need to waste time counting those ballots that they're putting to the side.
Okay. Well,
so like one of the questions Mr. Sean Roberts asks, how much of the black vote do you think Trump carries this time?
I'm gonna go 13-14%.
I'm going to go between 15 and 20%.
You're going that high, huh?
Yeah, I'm going that high.
I know it's a whole lot more than the previous elections. I know it's going to be a whole lot more. I know that. I should say no. I feel that it's going to be a whole lot more, and I feel that the Democrats have lost a whole lot of the black vote.
Oh, absolutely.
Just watching what Trump has done, watching what Biden has done, and what Biden has not done, and I think that just a general conversation. and seeing how these Democrats respond to black people has turned a lot of black people away from what Joe Biden is trying to offer. And unfortunately, though, I don't think that Trump has done a good enough job of reaching out to people to really solidify his message in the black community. I think he's done a huge job, huge as he likes to say, compared to previous years. But I think Trump would he would really solidify his stance. I don't think
compared to last Republican presidents, he's done night and day.
Yeah, I say huge, but I'm saying I don't think it's still enough. But I think it's a whole lot. And as you said before, I think that it's good because again, the Republicans win without the black vote anyway. So I think it's a good thing, a strategic thing. But I think that if Trump would have done more to reach out to black people and stop tweeting and even just said, with some of these situations going on with the black folk, the cops killing black people and black people getting killed, if he would have just said something, anything at all that would just say, look, we're going to look into investigate this, I think you'd have won some more voters.
Well, I mean, black side. But you can't really say that because he did. He like I said, we've had this conversation before. He's already he did talk about how horrible the George Floyd incident was, how what happened to Breonna Taylor was wrong and was needed to be looked into, and so. But again, you can't. It's like when someone apologizes. Either you accept apology or you don't. You can't say, well, I don't like the way that person apologized. You can't say, well, I don't like the way he expressed his remorse or he expressed his concern.
He's got to sound sincere, though. He's got to be sincere.
I don't like the way he expressed his concern. Well,
he's got to be sincere.
I mean,
you got to feel that he's sincere. You got to,
if you don't like the guy, you don't like the guy. It doesn't matter what he says. It could be heartfelt. He could have shed a tear, and it would have been.
But we know Donald Trump ain't. But we know Donald Trump ain't doing nothing heartfelt. So, yeah, but we know he ain't doing nothing heartfelt.
No, I don't. Do I think he said what he needed to say? And people who got it, who needed to hear it, they heard it. People who didn't want to hear it, it didn't really matter anyway because they wasn't trying to hear the dude in the first place. So I agree with Sean. Republicans have killed a lot of his momentum because I think when you look at what Trump has been trying to do, and we've had this conversation as well. The last 4 years of this administration has been wasted. It's been completely wasted. There hasn't been enough pushing of policies towards the black community. There's never been enough actual discussion of policy geared towards the black community until recently.
Mm-hmm.
But you've had 4 years to plant the seed. You've had 4 years to actually make the case to Black America or Black individuals, Black voters, prior to the last 3 months when he came out with this platinum plan.
Mm-hmm.
You've had that time. So the campaign itself has squandered a lot of it. And yeah, we had COVID going on, blah, 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 whatever. But still, everything was done online. So there was an excuse why you couldn't get online and hold an online town hall via Zoom like you've done 1,000 times during COVID and discuss these policies. You couldn't knock doors and you couldn't reach out to people via that manner or hold in-person town halls, but you certainly could have did it online. You did a bunch of other events online. But overall, the 4 years, though, you look at the whole 4 years in totality, it's been wasted. Yeah. There hasn't been any push from the here in the local level in Jacksonville. There hasn't been a push to talk to Black voters. So I can't really speak for other locations and locales and how they've behaved or what their local party or state party has done. But the state party here in Jacksonville, the local party here in Jacksonville, and the state party here in Florida hasn't done anything. And they're doing the exact same thing with DeSantis. They've wasted his first few years in office by not actually discussing these policies with individuals on the ground. So we'll see tomorrow how it plays out, but I think he gets 15 to 20% of the Black vote tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at these polls now. Just a couple polls. I don't believe in all these polls so much, but it's something to talk about. The Quinnipiac poll has Biden up 5 points the Frederick poll. I don't know who. I never heard of the Frederick poll, but
that's you, ain't it?
No, this ain't me because I would have known my own poll.
You over here making stuff up.
You're right, but they spelled it wrong. So the Frederick polls got Biden up 2 points. The morning consultants got Biden up by 6.1 points.
And this is overall. This is overall national. Is this
overall? Yeah, overall national. And the Rasmussens got him up by 1 point plus one. So every poll, all these major polls that people like to talk about, has got Biden up all the way around. So they're all predicting that Biden will. That's the number. So they're all predicting that Biden will win. But they're predicting that Biden will win. But we'll see what the actual people say when they go to the polls. But let's talk about this now. We know that how our system is set up. The winner is the one who gets the most electoral votes. Shouldn't say the most, but the threshold is 270 electoral votes. That's what the person needs. Say it again.
Yep, 270.
270. That's what you need to get. Now, the total of 538 that's out there. All right. So basically what happens is each state has a certain number of electoral votes based on their population. So the bigger the states have more electoral votes. Now, understand this too. We have people talking about if we should do away with the electoral college. Now, Kamala Harris said she would entertain it. Joe Biden said no, we shouldn't getting rid of the electoral college. But the electoral college was put in place to make sure that big states and little states could basically get some kind of equal representation, equal say-so when it comes to voting for the president. So some people, if we don't have electoral college, then people talking about, and this is usually on the left side of the aisle there, we're talking about just using the popular vote because if we were just going by the popular vote, Hillary Clinton would be president. But understanding the popular vote situation, if we just go by the popular vote, that means only the big states would really have a say-so in all the federal elections. Yeah. So there would be no reason to talk to Maine and Vermont and these smaller states with less population. So things would be decided by 5 or 6 different states: California, Florida,
New York,
Ohio, Texas. New York, Texas. 5 or 6 states. They would already have enough electoral votes. Enough of the popular vote. No more electoral votes. They'll have enough of the population to have decided who's going to be the president. And if you look at it in the fairness of it, then there's no reason to talk to. We got 50 states. If let's say 10 of them, we'll say 10, which I know is higher than what it is. If only 10 states were needed because of population, that means the other 40 states have no say-so in who the president would be. Those states would not appreciate that. Those states would not and never have signed on to be a part. This is called the United States. What that is there's individual states. A state is something, you have your borders, you have your own sovereignty. And if you look at how the United States was formed, states came on board before they were states. They were independent. They had their own borders. They had their own leadership. They had their own money. They had their own units of weights and measure. You got to have units of weights and measure. People don't really understand that. Weights and measure in order to have commerce going. So they had all that. They had their own militia. And so they decided to join in with other states to form the United States. But before they formed and say, I'm going to join this organization, I got to make sure that if I join your organization, you're not going to snuff out my vote because you got more people than me.
Right.
So that's why the Electoral College came upon, and that's in 1787, because you got to sit and think, if this is going to be equal representation, is the big states and the little states have to be done. The majority and the minority have to be represented. And that was one of the biggest fights in the 1800s. And that's what we still have going on now. But now people are relying on more so ignorance and trying to say it's not fair because the popular vote should win. Well, you're ignorant, or you're talking to people that you think are ignorant, going to fall for it. Because the only fair thing you can have is some kind of equal representation, not equal numbers. Because really, how many people live in Vermont? How many people live in New Hampshire? Exactly. In Maine. How many people live in North Dakota? It's a lot of free space out there. It's too cold up there. Not many people live there. But again, you say, how many people live in California? Are you kidding me? How many people live in Ohio? How many people in Texas? Those are the ones that would just wipe everybody off. So understand it. When you hear people say that popular vote, the popular vote, ask them how would that be when the citizens of the United States aren't spread out even over all of the states. If we
and that's why
spread out,
we got to get back to having, you know, the 10th Amendment actually means something, and having the states actually determine their own fate. And we need to abolish the 17th Amendment as well, where senators were actually senators used to go there
be
to
elected.
represent the states.
Yeah, they used to represent the states.
And now they're represented by people.
Yes.
And then that was never their intent.
Nope.
It was never intended to represent the people. They were only intended to represent the states.
So that's the states that needs of the state.
Right. So that way states had a say at the federal government level, and they were able to voice their the state legislatures used to vote the senators that they would send to Washington, D.C. And they I forget which year they switched it up and ratified it, and then it became by vote of the state. The people voted for the senators. So now you have a lot of states who have been left out due to certain things. When it's convenient for people, should I say, those states are left out. So we certainly need to get rid of the 17th Amendment, and we need to bring back the 10th Amendment and make it a little bit stronger than what it is. And people need to do some understand that we are not a democracy.
We definitely, and this is the thing. Like I think Sean said, a democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding whose lunch. Exactly. Yeah. And I remember, I liken it too when I just discussed when I used to teach history and civics, and I used to tell when describing democracy, and it used to be if someone called you a Democrat back in the day, it was an insult, because democracy is basically they're calling you a barbarian. If you look at the Wild Wild West, those Wild West TV shows, and you're out there and you know moving west, and somebody gets killed that's important in the city in the country rather, and they find the body and they catch a guy they think is guilty, and they take him down to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's got him in jail, and the sheriff says, "Hey, we're going to keep you here until the judge comes back around. He's over in Marion County. He'll be back next week," because you know that the judges had to travel. They didn't have a lot of judges.
True that.
But then somebody's mad out there saying, "Hey, that was my brother or that was my friend. We don't have to wait for the judge. We know what to do. We just get a tree and hang him." And they get everybody to come around and say, yeah. They fire them all up, right? And they get they got the noose, and they got the torches. And everybody's coming to the jail, and the little deputy run inside. You see them coming down the street, and all the noise they're making. The deputy run into the sheriff, say, "Hey, they're coming. The militia's coming. They come to get him." And the sheriff will walk out there with his guns, and they'll argue back and forth. You're not getting them. If this is a democracy, then everybody would just sit out there and vote and be like, "Yo, you want to hang him?" And they vote. If you get enough people, yeah. And the sheriff just give them over.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you have a democracy, it's mob rule.
It is mob rule.
In a republic.
We've seen that for the last 4 years.
Exactly. We have a representative republic, which means we calm ourselves down. We make our laws not based on emotions, but based on what we think is going to be the best situation to keep our way of life in perpetuity. So if you send that guy that they get hanged, and then later on, there's a lot of times they find out after they do the trial that the guy was innocent, you can't unhang the guy. You know, what you gonna say? Oops. You can't unmaim him. You can't unhurt him. You need to wait until there's a trial by jury with the laws. And as Sean says, a balance of emotions and anger. Exactly. But democracy is the mob rule. I'm mad right now. You've ticked me off, and I want to do something right now. I understand it. But in the long term, it's not right, because that same mob can turn on you if some evidence comes your way and makes you look guilty. And you like, nope, it wasn't me. Let's wait the trial. No, brother. No,
you'll never satisfy the mob. You'll never satisfy it.
And that mob's mindset can change just like that.
It's going to switch in a heartbeat.
It's going to switch in a heartbeat. Yep. So we definitely can't have that. So when somebody hears that electoral college, get rid of it. Ask them, how would that work in the United States, where populations are concentrated in certain areas? How would that work for the little guy? How is he going to get his word? Who's going to listen to what he needs? Nobody.
You know what they're going to tell you is the same. They're going to oh, well, just the way it is.
No, that's not just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. That's the way it has to be, because we can't have Donald Trump in office.
Oh yeah. That's what it need to be right now until somebody else gets in office, and then they'll do it.
You know?
Yeah. But you know, some people are saying no, Trump's going to lose. He's going to be the first president since George Bush the first to not to win back-to-back elections. You know, everybody else.
Listen, it's possible. You know, you never know what's going to happen on election day.
Yeah, it's possible,
because you have a lot of people. They look at the R's, they look at the D's, and say, well, Republicans had these many people turn out. Democrats had these many absentee ballots sent in, but you don't know who's voting for who.
Yeah, when you get that, when you get that little,
if those D's are voting for Trump or if those R's are voting for Biden, just like with the MPAs, you look at those MPA numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Those MPA, telling who the MPA is voting for.
Yeah,
they just out there. There's what, and in Florida we had what 13, 14 million MPAs vote, something like that.
It's a stack of them.
Something like that. A few million MPAs voted. We don't know who they voted for. They could fall on either side of the line. Either side of the line. So, he could very well lose. I don't believe he will. Like I said, I think he's gonna cross the 280 and close it out tomorrow night.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna drag it on. I think it's gonna be a minute.
So what state you think is gonna be the state that causes it to drag on?
In the Pennsylvania, that won't even count their votes and until election day, all their absentee ballots. Let me pull it up. But yeah, it's a couple states that are like that, and I think that.
I just don't think that the ballots that they're going to be putting to the side are going to matter. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That part.
It's not like they're counting. They're not like they're saying we're going to count these votes. Those votes are being pushed to the side. Those votes are being held to the side, and you're going to have once the tally starts coming in. So if he's at a comfortable margin, and the margin is, what? There's only 10 or 15,000 absentee votes or mail-in votes. He's up by 70, 80,000 votes. Them 10,000 votes ain't gonna matter.
Right.
Even if all 10,000, 15,000 votes are for Biden, if he's up by 70, 80,000, them 15,000 votes that you have on the side ain't gonna matter. He wins the state.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way it's gonna play out tomorrow. I don't think the votes that they're putting, those votes that they're saying it's going to count, have to be counted 4 and 5 and 6 days later. I don't think they're going to matter because there's not going to be enough of them.
Yeah, I understand it, but I don't think it's going to be that way. I think the vote is going to be very close, and I think that each side has already formulated their charges they're going to have against the other for voter fraud or whatever they're going to do to try and win. I think again they have them all just set up and just all up in certain little email folders, and whichever one is appropriate for why that state lost. I think all 50 states have them. Each party has it. They'll just go ahead and start doing the complaining part. But understand this too. On election day, which is November 3rd, the votes will be cast. Now, whatever they say is not official until each state actually has to certify those electoral votes. And that doesn't happen to around December the 14th. All right. So that's what happens. So we can do all this talking, but until it's actually official and they send it up to, excuse me, got a little cough.
Get that Rona?
Maybe. Come
on, cousin.
Until they send it up to DC, it's not official. I'm about to call.
True that. So the problem that I think that you may run into is you look at the Attorney General for Pennsylvania has already made some stupid comments about it doesn't matter how many votes come in, Donald Trump's going to lose the state anyway.
Really?
You as the Attorney General of the state, who's somebody who's going to be in charge of one of the overseers of those votes, why would you say something that's stupid? You're asking for there to be drama. You're asking for it to be an issue with the other campaign. And I just don't think that we need that at this point in time. We don't need any drama tomorrow. We need tomorrow to go as smooth as possible. And when you have these officials in high places making these stupid statements that it doesn't matter how many votes come in, he's still going to lose. You're setting yourself up for drama. You're setting yourself up for failure more than anything else. For lawsuits, and the country just doesn't need that. Voter suppression. I don't think there's going to be any voter suppression. I don't think anyone. I think everybody who wanted to vote has had an opportunity to vote. Like most states, like we talked about earlier, most states have 2 weeks of early voting. If you can't get out and vote in 2 weeks, you say, well, I can't make it to this location. I can't make it to that location. I mean, they have places all over cities. It's not like you just have to go to your precinct and vote. to actually vote. So I think I think that people who have wanted to have had that opportunity to, they have, and so that I think that there's going to be some confusion. I don't think it's going to be I don't think tomorrow is going to be doom and gloom, as chaotic, Miss Doris, Miss Wilson, as people make it out to be. I think you're going to have your problems. You're going to have your issues. There's going to be, like Fred was talking about, is going to be some contestation of this process and that process, and why are we doing like this, and these are the rules, and now we're going to change the rules at the last minute at the state level and at canvassing boards around the country. But I think overall is going to go fairly smoothly on a grand scale. I think it's going to go fairly smoothly. Yeah, you're right. If a Republican has said that Biden will lose no matter what, it'd be top 10 on every news station. They're suppressing the vote. They're out there trying to discourage Democrats from voting, and you're just going to have problem after problem after problem. So I think when you look at what's going on with the state of Pennsylvania, which is probably more so than Florida this year, I think the state of Pennsylvania will be the real is the prize, really the biggest prize. But Biden killed himself during the debate with the fracking. He killed himself with the oil. They're not going to vote for him. If you looked over the last 3 or 4 days when Trump has been in Pennsylvania, he's had tens of thousands of people at every rally showing up in the cold. If they're going to show up in the cold, they're going to show up to go vote. It's just that simple. That's going to happen. They're going to go vote, and they're going to encourage other people, and they're going to inspire other people to go and vote because of that reason. You're just not going to have a situation where, because of what he said, where he's going to be able to come back from that. It's just not going to happen. So, Mr. Darryl Brown said, Trump is not winning the election. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. He may not win, but that comment cost him. And he may not win. Trump may not win. That's how it goes.
Of course, Trump may not win, but I'm thinking that Trump will win. I think that with the pull out, and I think the problem is what the left has done a good job at is making villains out of people that support Trump, especially Black people that support Trump in their own Black community.
Absolutely.
So as I said before, I think that a lot of Black people are going to be voting, but not voting. They're going to vote for Trump, but not let anybody know it. Because
absolutely. I think you have a lot of people who, and a lot of people who are voting for Biden. They're not voting for Biden because they believe in Biden. They're voting to get rid of Trump. That's not the same thing. Yeah. And I don't think you're going to get enough people, in my personal opinion, that's going to say, my life is so bad, or the last 4 years are so bad, I've got to go, and I hate this guy, but I just got to go vote for Trump. I mean, I got to go vote for Biden and get rid of Trump. I just don't think you're going to see that. But I tell you who is going to get blamed, and we was talking about this earlier too. The Black male will be blamed.
Oh, definitely
loses.
Like I said, blame or congratulate depends on what side you're looking at.
Well,
I think that
from the liberal folks,
they're gonna blame the Black man.
They already started with their degrading and down talking to Black men as being what did the Root had an article stating that
because it's chauvinist.
Yeah, because no, that was the other article. The former NAACP president Ben Jealous was like, Black people are voting for Trump because of male chauvinism. Like, isn't he like a doctor? Where he get that stupid answer from? Where that stupid response from?
Doesn't matter if you're a doctor. That don't impress me. It's your title, so you just jump through the hoops. But
he got some type of education, and that wasn't an educated statement. And then you have articles like the Root saying that because so many Black men want to be white men, that's why they're voting for Donald Trump.
That's it. Because so many Black men want to be white men.
And this only came about after Lil Wayne just recently, this past weekend, or Friday or so.
Yep. Yeah.
Came out and said he was endorsing President Trump.
Yeah.
Then you had, so since Lil Wayne's come out there, you had 50 Cent who's come out. Ice Cube has never endorsed Donald Trump. Let's make that clear. He's never endorsed Donald Trump.
He haven't endorsed anybody.
He just said, I talk. He endorsed nobody. He just said, I went and talked to my man campaign, and they seemed interested. I gave him some pointers, and that was that. Yep. Never said, Ice Cube never came out and said, you better go vote for Trump. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He hasn't endorsed any candidate. But Wayne did. 50 Cent kind of half-heartedly did until the white lady put him in his place, Chelsea Handler, and told him, I need to remind you that you're a black man.
Yeah, Chelsea need to remind him. Yeah, then she talking about, so if I need to.
That's that liberal right there, boy.
That is, exactly. I need to tell you that's mighty white of you. You know what I'm saying? That's mighty white of you. And she's talking about if she need to go ahead and date him, quote unquote, date him one more time to get him back, just to remind him what's up. Sir. Then that's what she need to do.
And that's really. That's what a lot of them think. And that's how a lot of them feel. That they have that mind control over black folks.
Yeah, and see that's what Malcolm X said. The biggest problem is the white liberals dangerous. And from what I've seen in my lifetime, I agree. Working in different places, it's not that the white liberal is mean. It's just that the white liberal doesn't think, in my opinion, that the black man is equal. So consequently, he needs to be helped. He needs to be coddled. He needs to be taken care of. He needs to be cultivated like a dog. You can love your dog. Slave masters would love their slaves, but they always knew and let the slave know you are a slave.
You are beneath me.
As long as you are a good slave, you will always have a place with me.
Yes, indeedy.
And so as long as
that's
you are
exactly what she was telling him.
Exactly.
As long as you are obedient and as long as you kowtow and you bow down to me, you will always have a place in my bed.
Always have a place. But exactly. you exactly.
You will always have a place in my bed as long as you do as I say.
Evidently, he didn't want to be there because he left. So it wasn't, they couldn't be that. But my thing is too, when it comes to any kind of political party, if you are running for office, if you're a political party, if you're not telling me that it's my responsibility to take care of myself, then I got a problem with you. If you're telling me that my situation is 100% somebody else's fault, I'm not held responsible for anything, and all you're going to do, if I put you in office, you're going to take care of my needs, then I got a problem with you. Because how can you take care of your needs, but not expect me to take care of mine, and you still think we're equal? We can't be equal. You will never say that to me because you want my vote. But behind closed doors, I'm still a boy to you. So
that's the funniest part about the whole Wayne thing is like when I looked at it, it's like here you have all of these people on the left, and he took so much pushback from black folks too. Like we talked about Saturday Night Live, was trying to make fun of him. But you had so many of these black people on the left talking about systematic racism.
Yeah.
Hear my man say, I'm not funding your systematic racism with my taxes. I don't want to fund your systematic racism with my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was a good guy as long as he was funding your systematic racism. Now that he don't want to fund it, now that he don't want to put his money to it, now all of a sudden he's a bad guy. So which one is it, black voters? Which one is it? You care about systematic racism or you don't? Which one is it? You can't stop trying to have it both ways.
Yeah.
Every topic you try to have it both ways. Yeah. You can't.
But see, here's the problem again. It goes back, as I said before, the Democrats, Republicans are both working together. And me and my cousin actually came up with this theory years and years ago called a playpen theory. It's like this. You got a baby and you got work to do. You single dad, you got a couple kids there, Christian. You have work to do, and the baby's at that age they can run around and tear stuff up. So you get a playpen. You got to wash the dishes. You take the baby to take the playpen in a place you can see it, put the baby in the playpen, put a blanket, put a ball, something they can play with some food, right? To that baby, they got a big playpen and run around and play, right? Boom, 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 run around. They get tired. They can lay down. They got a bottle in there, whatever you can do, throw a ball, whatever their little favorite things to do. And they got a big old world to them. But to you, Christian, you know that no matter what that baby does, it's all under control. That baby can't hurt himself. Right. That baby ain't going to do no danger. That baby going to tear nothing up while you're trying to clean up, right?
Right.
You are in control, but you let the baby decide on what the baby wants to do within the confines of what you already pre-described.
Right.
That's the same thing that's happening with us right now with these Democrats and Republicans. People are running both of them. So within the confines of who wins between the Democrats and the Republicans, they don't care because they're running both. So we can run around, we can fight, we can argue, we can burn stuff up, blow stuff up. But when it's all said and done, these same people are running both of them. So they don't care. So, excuse me, it was said in the beginning of the century, give me control of your commerce. I care not who you elect in the office. And that's what we have here. Folk that are controlling the purse strings are dominating and telling everything else what to do. That's why the Democrats and Republicans fight to keep the third parties from being heard. When the second George Bush and Bush and Gore were running for office and they were having their presidential elections, they both only agreed to go on the national TV elections if they wouldn't let the third parties come on. So they booted them off. So third parties have always had trouble picking up traction because the Democrats and Republicans work very hard not for those voices to be heard. And I say it over and over again. You can't tell me in a country of almost 400 million people that only a Democrat or a Republican is fit to lead. Only a Democrat or Republican can have a good idea. Only a Democrat or Republican are good citizens. No, that's that mindset that they have us, and so many people are stuck on that. So many people have locked into that we're guaranteed to be controlled by the same people because they control both the parties that we're allowed to. If you go to your ballot, if you haven't voted already, but you go to your ballot, you can see that other people running for office. We got
Donald people on the ballot. I voted already. There's a lot of there's about 7, 8.
For president, we got Rock de la Fuente. He's a Reform Party. Don Blankenship's Constitution Party. Howie Hawkins is the Green Party. Joe Jorgensen is the Libertarian Party. So those 1, 2, 3, 4 people are running for office. They really hadn't heard anything about them. They didn't get any traction. Now sometimes they say some absolutely stupid stuff, and they shouldn't even be in office with in the first place. But others come along and they say some great things, but again, they get stamped out.
Well, this is why I'm gonna push back on you.
Marcus said I got a mouthful. Okay, go ahead. What you gonna push back
on you? Because what you just described when you're talking about, yes, only Republicans or only Democrats can lead. No, they can't. I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the BS of American citizens come in.
Okay.
Because every election cycle, you hate Republicans, and every election cycle, you hate Democrats. But how come you ain't out there supporting a third party candidate then?
I've tried, and I'm gonna tell you,
not you specifically.
Okay.
I'm talking about American in general.
Oh, okay. I'm telling you, I've tried.
It's impossible to have tens of millions of Americans every presidential election cycle. I hate Republicans. I hate Democrats, and they never put their time and they never put their money into supporting a third party candidate. Yeah. That being the case, shut up. It is what it is. It's the left and the right. Until people actually get off their behind who hate both parties and go support a third party candidate, either by making phone calls, volunteering their time, knocking on doors, or donating money to their campaigns, shut up. You really don't hate it as much as you think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't tell me that the individuals are not out there that are not out there who may be better than the Republican candidate or maybe better than the Democratic candidate who you're not even bothering to research. You're not even bothering to put any time in to tell your friends about, to share their stuff on social media, to call a campaign headquarters and say, hey, how do I volunteer in my state? Do you have an office in my city or campaign headquarters in my city where I can go volunteer and do some work? No, because it's easy to just complain on social media that you hate both parties. So to me, what I say to those people is, shut up.
Okay. I can't. It's hard to argue against that because again, put your work in. But at the same time, when I've definitely look at these other candidates because I'm really disappointed in Donald Trump's behavior, and I'm thoroughly disgusted with Joe Biden's behavior and his policies. His junk is just straight garbage. So, but I'm not happy with either one. But I think that the third parties that are out there have not put together a platform that is strong enough to make people really look at them. Last election, the third party candidates were just saying absolutely ridiculous stuff. The Green Party, of course, the Green Party's out there. Green, they basically environmental stuff. The things they come back is ridiculous. The Libertarian Party, I forget, I apologize for not having his name right in front of me.
It was Will Johnson.
Will Johnson, and the time before that, this guy was saying that he smokes weed and he was promoting.
That was the Johnson Well ticket last year.
Okay, and he said that he stopped smoking weed because smoking weed kills brain cells, and he was running for president. That's why he stopped smoking weed. This is what he literally said. He stopped smoking weed because of that. But he's okay with everybody smoking weed. So he just said smoking weed kill your brain cells. He stopped smoking weed because he ran for president. How many brain cells did you already kill? You see what I'm saying? Like, you must have killed too many brain cells before you to run for president to tell us that that's why you stopped.
But all third parties fall to either the left or the right. So that's why it always comes back to Democrat, Republican. Libertarians are just Republicans light. The Green Party is just Democrat light. The Progressive Party of America is just Democrat light. You see what I'm getting at? Yeah. So it always comes back to it always comes back to Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter what the third party is. And that's probably part of the reason why people say, I'm not going to waste my time voting for, this libertarian when I can just vote for Republican, because most of what they believe is the exact same thing with a few exceptions here and there. The same thing with the Green Party. Most of the ideas that the Green Party shares are, they have some differences with the Democratic Party, but for the most part, that's where their candidates come from. So, it is what it is. So you're back to Republican, Democrat. And it's always, I don't think there'll ever be a third party viable candidate that was as viable as when he showed Mr. Ross Perot. I don't think there'll ever be a third party candidate that viable, ever. And he was viable. He took a lot of votes. He's what they say caused all of the confusion in 2000 between Bush and Gore was his running.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We accept the individual, and that's why we talk like when you and I was talking. Yeah, I'm a registered Republican. I consider myself conservative. That's what I am. I'm a conservative. I have my issues with the Republican Party, but do I fight and stay there and fight to make that party that I align with better, or do I cut and run and allow the party to get worse and go down to a completely different path to where I don't recognize it? You see what I'm saying? And to where it's completely gone. So you have a choice as an individual to make. Do I stand and fight and say, you know what, this is not the party that I belong to. This what you believe is what you're starting to believe, and the stuff that you're saying and doing is wrong. And this is my party, and I'm not having it. Or do I just put my tail between my legs and walk away and say, I can't do nothing about it. I'm going to just go ahead and go on about my business. So it's just a choice. It's an individual choice that people have to make, and that's why you have to pick a side.
Okay, well, let's look at that. Let's roll with that then. Again, as you said, it's an individual choice, because some people are like, hey, I'm not ever going to get any traction in this place, so I'm going to go ahead and start my own party because it's not working. How long do you stay in a party that constantly kicks you in the face, but only comes around come election time and act like they love you? But you know good and well, you see time after time after time, they don't really.
But the Democratic Party, the Republican Party don't come around. You have to. They just ain't get involved with you at all.
Either one, but back in the day, when you get a call from Republican Party when it's time to vote, I've gotten that call before. I've been to the meetings election time. Yeah, I've been there. So
I mean, I ain't saying that you're lying. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I know. I know it does, because I'm a registered Republican too. But I just don't. I think they've gotten too far away from what the party claims is going to be for me to be like, ooh, I'm all gung-ho, vote Republican all the way up and down the ballot.
Right, absolutely. I mean, you still have to weigh the individual who's running for office.
But a lot of people don't.
Whether or not you'll support the individual, or whether or not you have an issue supporting what the individual believes in or what the individual stands for. Because
a lot of people don't.
But that's a problem with making sure that the principles and making sure that the platform is it remains the central part of that candidate's appeal and that candidate's push. If it starts to stray from that, then that's when you'll start to see people splintering off, saying, "Well, I can't really be bothered with it because the party's starting to stray to a different degree from what the principles and what the platform is all about," and that's completely understandable. So, as a voice, you have to speak up and stand up and say, "Listen, this ain't the move. This ain't what it is," and hopefully, you can get enough people to express that with you, to get some changes. And you'll never get that on the national level, but you certainly can get that done at the local level. You can certainly get that done on the local level. You just have to be willing to, put your face in there and say, you know what, y'all some morons, and it's time for y'all to change directions.
So, and let's go what you said. Getting away from the principles. We look at Donald Trump. When Donald Trump ran for office last election, he was breaking all the rules.
No, he was breaking the norms. That's different.
Okay, the norms. Okay. Well, he was breaking what is expected.
The norms
of the norms. What's expected. So it's a de facto rule, but again, it's kind of you're not supposed to do it. It's like saying you ain't supposed to cuss at nobody, but it's not a rule.
Right.
It's just normal. Say this is decent conversation.
Correct.
And we don't expect you to act like this. And if you do that, then we're going to be offended, and we're going to look at you in a certain way that says that you're not cultured. Maybe you don't have respect. So Donald Trump broke the norms that people were saying, okay, that was understood with the Republican Party. And some of those norms were talking about women, like he talked about Carla Fiorina bleeding out of her nose, calling Rosie O'Donnell the B word. His remarks, he got caught with his talking about bragging about cheating on his wife and all this, and then not even apologizing for it when he just saying it's just locker room banter. Talking about Marco Rubio, talking about Ted Cruz, all these things, talking about his husband, his dad, his wife, and these things. Like, why did we as Republicans, as a whole, not everybody did, allow him to talk like that and still get the nomination? And then after he gets the nomination, we vote him into office. People that voted for him, he's now the president of the United States. Throughout his 3.7 years as president, he has not changed at all, but he has taken the criticism about his behavior, about his conversation, and we make excuses for him. Oh, we didn't vote in a nice guy. We wanted to get things done. He's supposed to drain the swamp.
That's an excuse. That's not an excuse. Because in between the insults, in between the negative conversations or unpresidential discussion and things that he was saying, in between that there was policy. In between that there was things that I want to get accomplished. To voters that voted for him, that outweighed the other stuff. Now, it goes back to what we talk about. Outside of policy, there's nothing really negative you can say bad about Barack Obama. There's nothing really bad you can say about Barack Obama outside of policy. That's not what you put him in office for. That's not what he was elected for.
He was elected to do both.
No.
That's what, look, the president has 8 roles.
That's not what he was elected
He's a
for.
Chief executive. He's a chief diplomat.
That is not
he's a chief citizen. No, I'm saying as the role.
Elected for.
But I don't need the role.
Person who's cool, I can take pictures with, and somebody I want to have a beer with. I don't care. And that was the appeal of Donald Trump. No one cared about, we don't need a cool president. We don't want a cool guy that we can hang out with, have a beer with. That was the appeal that so many Democrats and so many Republicans missed. They didn't want a cool president. They wanted somebody who's gonna get the job done.
No, but I understand what you're saying. But what I just heard, let me tell you what I heard. I heard what you're saying, but let me tell you how it flips around in this coconut right here. I heard, or I translate that, what I said, tell me if I'm right, to I'm going to make an excuse because this guy gets stuff done. Let me stop. Before you say it, let me finish what I'm saying, and you correct me. I'm just telling you what I hear.
What happened?
All right, listen, because the president has their 8 roles of the president. He's the chief of state, all right, which means he represents the United States everywhere he goes. He's a chief executive, which means he's in charge. He's like in charge of the economy base of this country, like an executive of a business. And this country is a business because it's been incorporated. So that's how they use us to leverage money. They look at our GDP. They look at the number of workers we have. That's why they nowadays they quick, as soon as your child born, they want to get a Social Security card so they can add those numbers to the masses. Kind of like the Matrix. All right, he's the chief and manager of the economy. He works with Congress to set the budgets and tax policy. Chief diplomat. He oversees foreign issues. Commander in chief. Of course, you know what that means. He's in control of the military. Chief legislature. He sets the policy and agenda. Chief of the party. I mean, he's the leader of the party. That's why Joe Biden was saying in his last presidential election, I am the Democrat Party. Remember, he said it a couple of times. I am the Democrat Party. And then he's the chief citizen. And then he's supposed to do what's best in the interest of the people and embodies the American ideals. Those are the 8 roles of the president that's been established. I don't know how long, but it's way before Donald Trump has been president, way before Ronald Reagan was president. So a long time ago. So I'm trying to say, why don't we demand or expect Donald Trump or anybody else, I'm just talking about Donald Trump, anybody else to get the job done, pass great policies, but also carry themselves in a way on which it is respectable. Don't carry himself, because think about it. If that was Donald Trump and he said that about your wife, would you be like, well, honey, that's just, we didn't give him the elected. You'd be ticked off. Exactly. But you wouldn't make an excuse for him, you wouldn't say, I wouldn't say make an excuse, but you wouldn't let it slide.
Me personally, I wouldn't let it slide. I probably just swung on him.
Okay,
that's
but I know, saying, but now he said that about somebody else's wife, and you said,
well, I mean, I'm not sure what you're getting at. Whoever somebody called, go ahead and give us a call back. It was on mute, so I didn't miss the call. So whoever called us, go ahead and give us a call back. We can certainly want to hear from you. So, but that's just me though. So here's the problem with your argument though.
Okay.
So everything you read off about what the 8 things of
8 roles of the president.
8 roles of the president. Nothing on there that you read said be liked. Nothing that you read said be cool. Nothing that you read said be a likable, lovable person. Nothing of that said that. Do you personally, as a United States citizen, black man in America, you give a damn what the French people think about you?
It depends on how we're looking at it.
I would ask you. It's a question. Yes or no?
No, it can't be yes or no.
It is yes or no.
It can't be because
that's what the people of France or the people of China thought about me.
But let me tell you why. You mean like me as an individual or me as the country? Because we are doing business with them.
Got a call coming.
I'll take the call then.
Caller. We got that lag going on. Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, let me tell you. Both of you all have things so wrong the way. Both of you all are seeing things. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay. I think both of you all are looking at Trump in the wrong way. Trump is a disgrace. He is a disgrace to be in the position that he's in. He has called you military people names. He's talked about women. Everything he says is disgrace. He's another Jim Jones. He has followers who do not think too much of themselves. Look how he is acting with the virus. He thinks it's nothing. All these people dying. Now he's accusing the medical team, accusing doctors of taking money, saying that this is the COVID is not like that. I mean, it's really a disgrace to be in the White House. I don't care what his policies are. And I would like for you people to realize that he doesn't care anything about anybody who is poor. Okay? He doesn't care anything about the poor people, period. His friends are rich. Okay? And he gets people to do things for him. They are out right now tearing up cities. They are boarding up places in Detroit, Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C. Look how his people try to run a bus over because they had Biden signs. Y'all know this is not right. All this stuff about members, the Democrats and the Republicans. All of them are crooked. But we as a race of people, we haven't done a damn thing to stop it. We don't have any more Martin Luther King and John Lewis, okay? People sit up and talk, but guess what? They don't do anything. We can't even come together. All these black doctors, lawyers, ministers, all these black organizations, they don't come together as a team. Trump cannot be stopped because nobody tries to stop him.
So let me ask you this question, caller. So who should people vote for and why?
Who should we vote for?
And why?
I would vote. I am voting. I have voted. Let me tell you why. I'm telling you why I voted for Biden. I voted for Biden because he is not a disgrace. Because he is not a disgrace. The way he talks, we don't know what's in people's heart. All of them, none of them care about us. Okay, none of them care about black people. We're the most hated race. You know why? We built this country. Our great grandfathers built the White House, and we couldn't even go in the White House. You know, nobody likes us. Okay, but Trump is nasty.
So
it's very, very nasty. He has no culture, and the things that I do to see him as president.
So that's why I asked the question, is because that's what one of the things that I had mentioned earlier when we first started talking about, this election coming up tomorrow. There are people that are voting for Biden not because Biden is better than Trump, it's because Biden is not Trump. But that's not help. That doesn't help anybody. That's not policy is about making things better, whether or not they're social programs, whether or not it's the military, whether or not it's what's it called, our overall economy, whether or not it's the farmers. So saying, well, I'm going to vote for somebody who's not going to do anything concerning that just because I hate the guy, because this other guy, that doesn't help the country, nor does that help people.
So what? Yeah. So what I'm hearing is just emotions.
We certainly appreciate you calling, caller.
I guess call hung up. I'm just hearing emotions. Biden make me feel good. Biden says these nice things, but what policies is he going to put in place? What is he doing to help you? If he's not doing anything to help you, then again, you got the balance. What does it matter? He's going to say these things, but he's going to pass policies that are going to raise your taxes. He's going to pass policies that are going to attack your 401k. He's going to raise policies that's going to mess with your health care. He's going to have policies that are going to open up the borders for anybody to come in and further drain, taking care of illegal aliens, further drain the money that you put in your Social Security. He's going to raise policies. He's going to create policies that are going to help just destroy industries that are incorporating people. He's got policies in there that's going to hurt the education. They don't support the school systems and where they can have free school choice. A lot of these things that they do are contradictory to what a lot of people believe in. But again, they say because Donald Trump don't say it in a nice way, then they want to say it's not good. Who's this caller? Go ahead.
Hello, caller. You are on Black Code Red. Who's this?
This is Sean. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing good. How's it going, man?
I'm doing really well, man. Love what I'm watching. I was just calling in to kind of, I missed part of the last caller, but I heard a lot of, Biden because Trump is a disgrace and all of that jazz. And I think he cited something about his respect for the military. And I got to say, and maybe you'll agree with me, Chris, maybe you won't, but, I think Trump is the first president in a long time that's not just using us as cannon fodder. And like all these presidents, they all say the nice thing about the military because, that's what you've got to say, fly over to the football game. But this man is actually trying to pull us out of endless wars. He's trying to keep us from being off the coast of country X for forever and anon when there's no freaking purpose. And I really feel like he's the first guy that doesn't just see us as expendable assets. Like if juice is worth the squeeze, you go fight the war. But if it's not worth the squeeze, then why the hell are we there? And I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that, if you agree or disagree with me.
No, I can completely agree with you 100%. Spending that time together out to sea, not knowing where we going or when we coming home, and just out there pretty much for the sake of being out there. A lot of times, that's draining, taxing on the family. That's taxing on the individual. You know, it's a mental burden, it's a physical burden, and the country doesn't need that. And like you said, unless there's something that we're actually going to get tangible out of the deal, why are we consistently getting involved in fighting these endless unnecessary wars? So yes, I agree with you 100%. As a
from being out there, like sure, it sells missiles, it sells bombs, and everybody waves the flag and says they support the military, but they want to vilify him and go off these unfounded rumors, these discredited rumors that he talks crap about military. But the rubber kind of meets the road. I mean, do you remember when he was getting elected the first time? He was going to supposed to get us in World War III.
Yes.
Now the man can't even barely pull us out of fucking Syria.
Yes.
And they're fighting tooth and nail to keep us in there.
No, absolutely, absolutely. That was the talk. Oh, we're going to be in World War III. We're going to be, make sure you get you a bomb shelter because he's going to get everybody in America killed. He's going to get everybody in the world killed, and there's going to be a nuclear war and a nuclear holocaust because Donald Trump's the most evil person in the world, and that's just what he wants to do. And it's been the complete total opposite of that, where he's pulled us out of this place, pulled us out of that place, hasn't gotten us involved in anything new, which is a good thing. But you would think that he's actually started a war somewhere or actually went in to bomb someone.
When the rubber meets the road, when it really mattered, he just pulled the trigger and killed Soleimani there in Iraq. That motherfucker that killed more Americans.
Language, please.
He didn't ask any questions. He didn't fucking talk to the Democrats.
Oh, language.
He was like commander in chief, and he did it. And it was amazing, decisive action. And that was another thing. They tried to almost impeach him for killing a terrorist who's from Iran who shouldn't have even been in Iraq.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So he did what he needed to do, and as the commander in chief, and it was the right call. It was a person who had killed troops, who had planned on killing more troops, and was in Iraq probably working on killing a few more hundred troops. So he had to go. It was you had to wait. He did it decisively. There was no right. There was no wait. There was no we have a commission. We need to go through all of these other unnecessary things to make this tough decision. And do I think it was a tough decision for him to make? Absolutely. I don't think he did it willy-nilly. But he weighed the risk versus the reward, and the reward is the saving of American troop lives down the road, and possibly American civilians in the United States based on any terrorist attack plan that this guy was plotting. So absolutely, we certainly appreciate your call there, Sean. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, appreciate that. Now,
entertain me. I'll talk to you later, man.
All
right. One thing though that you didn't cover there when he's talking about disparaging the troops, Donald Trump has done that. And he started off with John McCain when he was running for office. Again, he runs his mouth wrong. He tried to backtrack it later on. You know what I'm talking about when he said, John McCain wasn't a hero because because he got shot down. So he basically said people that get shot down and get caught are not heroes. And so, a lot of people in the military are like, wait a minute, just because you get shot down, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy or something. That don't mean you some. Did you use the term loser? I'm gonna look that up. I feel like, but you remember the comment, don't you, Christian, when he was running for president?
I remember something to that effect. My thing is, if I got beef with you, I got beef with you, and everything is on the table. Everything's on the table. Nothing is. There's no hold bars at that point, and that's how it is. That's just the nature of individuals. That's the nature of man. That's the nature of the society that we in. Right, wrong, indifferent. If we got drama, if we got beef, it is what it is. It's no holds barred. I'm going to come after you. You're going to come after me. You may not come back at me as hard as I'm coming at you, and it is what it is, But
you can't come after when it talks about his military service.
You can't.
You can't. You can. Literally, you can.
Everybody.
But
there's no such person as
King. He's running he's running to be the commander in chief. Okay. And he's talking about a decorated war veteran. John McCain was shot down and he was captured in Vietnam. Yeah, he was a political prisoner for 7 years.
He's a hero.
Exactly. And even when his time came up, they were going to let him go. John McCain said, no, I will stay. Let some of these other guys that have been here longer go before me.
Hero.
I will stay with this torture because I might not make it back. I don't know if the relations are break down. I don't know what's going on, but I will stay here because some of my fellow soldiers, my fellow servicemen have been suffering longer. They broke his shoulders, broke his arms. He couldn't even raise his arms all the way up because of what happened to him during his capture in Vietnam. And then Trump comes by and downplays it, basically calls him a loser because he got shot down. How do you say that that is fair game?
I didn't say that was fair game. That's not what I said.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying Donald Trump must think it was okay to say because he said it. So I'm not saying you, Christian, but he comes back and says that that is fair game or okay to say because he said it. Why would he even fix his lips to talk about anybody in the military? The fact that you sign your name on that dotted line, you get respect from me, period. Because you're saying, I will go and die for this country. I will go and die. And 1% of the population is in the military, right? So
yeah,
not 1%. So you guys, and you one of the 1%ers. That means 99% of the people in this country did not do, for whatever reason, maybe they didn't meet the requirements, too old, hurt, whatever it's going to be, did not do what you have done. 1%ers is what you guys are. And for him to come back and downplay the sacrifices that you made, like you said before, with your family, you're out in the middle of the ocean 6 months at a time. You can't downplay.
Let me ask you this. Because again, it goes back to human nature and it goes back. What role did John McCain have in the Steele dossier?
I don't know.
He had a role in the Steele dossier.
That is, and that's what Trump came out later on and talked about that Steele dossier. Yes.
So there you have it.
But it's not.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
There you have it. You done try to discredit me, besmirch me. Now when I come back and I say something about you, I'm the bad guy.
No. He didn't discredit. But that's not what he did. He didn't say, I don't like John McCain. He said, we don't like people that get shot down.
Let me finish.
My bad. I'm zipping it.
You can't attack somebody. And then when they attack you, it could be out of bounds. It could be over the top. People say things when they super irritated, super pissed off. You can't then turn around and say, I'm the victim. You can't do that. You lose all credibility when you try to do that.
Okay.
All credibility. That's why every time someone brings up, the Rosie O'Donnell stuff, he called Rosie O'Donnell a fat beat. What did Rosie O'Donnell call him first? He responded to her.
But Rosie O'Donnell is not running for president. All right. Tell me when you're done.
The response is like anything else. No one ever sees the person who hits first. They always see the person who fights back and hits back. That ends up becoming the bad person. You watch football. You see it in football all the time. A player pushes somebody, nobody see it. The other player turns around and pushes him back. He gets the 15-yard penalty. No one ever sees the first guy. Because no one wants to talk about the first guy. Because everyone wants to be the victim. Everyone wants to protect, quote unquote, the victim. So when I look at John McCain and Donald Trump's history together, was there stuff that was over the top and out of bounds on both sides? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here you are, a sitting U.S. senator, where you had a role in producing a document and pushing a document that said this man was in a hotel getting peed on by prostitutes and doing all kinds of things in the bed because of Brock. You know good and damn well that none of that occurred. And you know good and damn well that none of that occurred. So what am I going to do as the person who knows that you had a role in this? I'm going to attack you. I'm going to hit you where it hurts. I'm going to say some things that's going to be inappropriate towards you, because here you are trying to ruin me because I've made it further than you made it running for president. So here you are trying to hurt me. So you think I'm not going to say anything back? That's not human nature, and it's unrealistic for people to act like you can say anything you want to anybody, but the moment they say something back, well, you've gone overboard. Yeah, maybe the person have gone overboard, but in the heat of the moment, you can't stop them, and you can't pretend like that's not just human nature to go overboard. And yes, it was he said that what he said about, prisoners of wars and him being a prisoner of war, yeah, it was over the top. It was out of bounds. It is what it is. People fight dirty when they pissed off and when they angry. You know that. It happens. You teach kids. You see it in school when a kid may say something completely over the top. Is it right? It's just human. That's who we are as sinful human people.
You done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I appreciate that. I disagree with some of the stuff you said. one, I understand the nature of people want to get back, but we're not looking for somebody that's going to react like a regular person because we need somebody that's our champion. That's why if you want to look at football, we don't look at these guys because they can run as fast as we can, because they can tackle as well as we can, or catch as well as we can, or throw as well as we can. We look at these guys because they can do it better than we can. We look at these guys because they're above and beyond the average. We don't go to see average. We don't need an average guy with average responses to things to be the leader of the country, is what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. But when he came back, and I found the quote, what they're just talking about is Donald Trump was talking about McCain. Here's a quote. This is out of what the Detroit Free Press was saying. And this is talking about John McCain. It says, after Trump recalled McCain saying something that Trump considered Trump as an insult to him and his supporters. Donald Trump said, I said somebody should run against McCain, who has been, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. That's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down, but he lost. So I never liked him much of that because I don't like losers. And then the moderator says, that's Frank Lute says, but he was a war hero. Trump responds, he's not a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured. I'd like people that weren't captured. Now, you guys have served. Has anybody listening know somebody that's ever been captured? Are you telling me that is some kind of punk move? Are you telling me the stuff that you can potentially go through is some kind of stuff that you're just going to say, I don't like you? He didn't say, I don't like John McCain. He said, I don't like him. People that was captured. So I see what you're saying, where he's trying to attack John McCain. And I can understand that part because John McCain was attacking him. That's what I understand when I say agree with you with, okay, that's what he's doing. It's politics. You got to fight back. You don't want no punks in office either trying to seem soft. But at the same time, I need Donald Trump to control his mouth and say some things that are appropriate, because you're talking about being a commander in chief, yet you're talking about people being captured. Anytime you send somebody to war, they can have a chance of being captured. Are you going to stand there, Donald Trump, and say, I want you guys, we got the best military in the world, and we got the best training, we the strongest, but if you get captured, I no longer like you. If you get captured, you're now a loser.
You'll get no argument from me. You get no argument from me.
That's what I'm saying. He's got to control that.
I said it over the top and out of pocket.
But how do we know?
It was.
So here's the question then. Here's the question. You say that's over the top and out of the pocket.
Yes.
I say, well, I don't know. How do you determine when it's over the top and out of the pocket, or just him being him?
No,
and saying how he truly feels.
Or what I said by that is the fact that it was out of bounds. Because you can get your point across, and you can actually return fire without crossing the line, or without crossing certain lines. That is very much possible. And he did cross that threshold, that line with that. That being said, what do you want from me? That's who he is.
Exactly. I'm saying, as a leader, I want him to, and again, I say, y'all the 1%ers. You guys put your life in the line. And it's even a smaller percent of that actually seeing combat. But again, everybody that signs up could potentially see combat, because they could be like, yo, we need you to go over here. We're going to train if you don't have the training, and you got to go. So I'm saying we have to always show respect to our military. And I don't know if you want to say double respect, but maybe, I don't know, but respect to people that actually have, to people that have been captured. I don't know, but we definitely, as commander-in-chief, the last thing I would think that the commander-in-chief, or the person that wants to be commander-in-chief, would do is disparage somebody that put their life on the line and got captured. That is, again, I want him to control his mouth.
You get no argument from me. Like I said, it was over the top. It was over the top. You can make, like I said, you can make your point. You can hit back at people, and you can strike back and say things that are, factual, without being cruel, without being mean, and without being disrespectful to a certain degree. I was in the military for 20 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Military ain't no different than any other job. It ain't no different than any other atmosphere where you see you got your good guys, you got your bad guys, you got your awesome guys, you got your scumbags. It is what it is. I'm not going to pretend like it's not like that. because it's like that at every job. You know, there was people that I worked with that I loved working with, and there was people that I certainly wanted to toss over the board that wasn't worth two dead rats rubbed together.
Never heard that term before, but okay.
It wasn't worth two dead rats rubbed together.
Why would you rub two rats together? But okay.
Start a fire, get some meat going.
Okay.
So you know, so I don't do the whole. I don't. That's just me because I was in it. So I don't do the whole superhero nonsense. You got your good guys, bad guys. You got your dirtbags.
Yeah.
So when you look at the commander in chief, and the person who wants to be commander in chief, now we're going to talk about Joe Biden. So we're talking about Donald Trump and everything that he is not. But at no point has anyone said, "Well, I'm not voting for Donald. I'm voting for Joe Biden because he's going to do X, Y, and Z." I'm voting for Joe Biden because he's not Donald Trump. That doesn't help you. It's not helping the country. That's not helping anyone else. So when you ask individuals, well, we don't want you to vote for him because all he does is because he's just a bad person. I can't speak for other people. You got to give me more than that, cuz. You got to give me more than that.
Not many people asking for that though. A lot of people aren't.
You got to give me more. It's like when people say, "Well, I can't vote for Donald Trump because he's racist. I'm voting for Joe Biden." Slap yourself. Really?
Twice.
Slap yourself. Because the argument then becomes, well, my racist is better than your racist because he's not as racist as your racist. So I'm going to go ahead and vote for my racist. You wrong for voting for your racist. Really?
Yeah.
That's where we at.
That's exactly where we are. And again, the problem with that, we go back to it. What's your policy? What's your policies?
What is your policy? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, let me take that back. I'm going to say it doesn't matter. On the grand scheme of things, I think, and this is where the Democratic Party has not done the autopsy of the 2016 campaign, of Hillary's campaign, to understand what was the appeal of Donald Trump to voters. It had nothing to do with him being loud, him being rambunctious, him being disrespectful, him not being presidential. It had nothing to do with that. Because in between all of that, there was policy. You can disagree with what the policy was, but the voters didn't disagree with the policy. They went for it. Because they voted for what was important to them and what was important to what they felt was the country. So if you haven't done, and they haven't done an autopsy to actually figure out what that was, because for the last 4 years, it's just been, he's a dictator, he's a racist, he's X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. That's not going to get Joe Biden to win. It's not going to get him to win. That's not going to get anybody who was running for president who would have ran against him the win. And that's why I think he's going to pull it out tomorrow. Because in between all of the chaos and craziness, there's policy. You can say, well, policy is not that important. You're a moron. That's all that matters in the grand scheme of things. Is the policy. Policy. And if you can't, and if your thing is that you can only vote for someone who says the things that the way you like them to say, acts the way you like them to act, don't necessarily got to think the way you think, but that's, as long as they act the way you want them to act or the way you think they should act and say the things you need them to see. You had 8 years of that of Barack Obama. What'd they get you? That's why I said outside of policy, there's nothing you can criticize Barack Obama about outside of policy. Nothing. But what'd that get you, though? What'd they get the country? Not a damn thing. That's why Donald Trump won the 2016 election. And because that was never addressed at the Democratic side, they never did that complete autopsy of how he won. He's going to win again in 2020.
I hope you're right, but I don't think I think he'll win, but it's going to be close. And again, you talk about that autopsy, but you don't need the autopsy if you're going to flip the narrative, because what has been sold about Donald Trump is racist. And what are we looking for nowadays is to get rid of racism. Anything you think is racism is bad. Every white man is bad. If the white man has destroyed the whole country, the whole world, he's a terrible thing. We got to put the white man in his place. Donald Trump is an old white man, just like we said before. You just said it now, but now you got another old white man to vote for. Kind of contradictory, but this white man is more racist than my white man. But it's racism, racism, racism. Like you said, we talked about this before. I've said it before. I don't know how many times. You too. Policy. You can't talk about policy. Joe Biden don't run on policy. He doesn't run on anything that he's ever done. But what he runs on is we got to get this racist out of office. Yeah. Like this country ain't never seen racism before. What we can't have is a socialist and a Marxist in office in the form of a Joe Biden, in the leadership, in the form of Nancy Pelosi, in the form of Maxine Waters, in the form of Barack Obama, this de facto shadow person pulling the strings in the background. And all these guys are going to change the policies and change this country to where we can't get ahead. We can survive another racist, if you want to call them racist. We can survive that. We cannot survive a socialist. We cannot survive a change in policies that would take place, that would keep us from being free and independent and taking our idea in the business and start it and do what we want to do and take it to the highest extremes. We can't survive somebody like a Joe Biden that will allow these people, the LGBTQ community, to attack our churches and our religious organizations and our religious pillars. That's what they're going to do. We can't survive this person that's going to destroy our schools and not let us have school choice. We can't survive a person that's going to try and get this one system healthcare, which he claims is not going to do. But Kamala Harris said that's what she really wants to do. And people think she's probably going to pull the strings anyway on the backside. They don't even tell if Joe Biden going to make it. That's what they say, but I ain't going to go that far with it. But we cannot survive this guy that comes on as weak when it comes to these guys in the military, when it comes to our stance in the arena of these guys that's trying to attack us. We cannot survive a person in the form of politician, in the form of Joe Biden, these Democrats, if they get in control of what they will further push our country away from this republic into more of a socialist regime. The country cannot survive. We can't survive with him saying, I'm going to raise taxes on the quote unquote people making $400,000. And you look at the numbers and you know it's not even going to work. We can't survive him saying, I'm going to raise the taxes for capital gains taxes and say it's only for the rich people, when the average person that has an IRA or 401k or 403BC, 401BC, all those things, we can't survive because he's raising those taxes too, which means you're going to have less money. The middle-class American, the $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 wage earner, he's going to be taking 15, 20% more of the taxes from you to go fund the government, but then say he's looking out for you. He's not. We cannot survive that.
You know what that was?
What's that?
That was one of the best Donald Trump ads I have ever heard. This whole election cycle. Okay. That was a really good Donald Trump ad if I've ever heard one.
Okay. So, hey, I'm just tell me, just stop me if you think I'm wrong, but we can't survive this.
I find no fault in what you said.
We can't. We can survive a quote unquote racist because if you're not changing the policies, as long as the policies aren't changed in America, we can vote out a racist and vote in somebody that's not racist. But when you change those policies and you create more and more of a poor society, which is what these new Democrats want to do, is creating more and more dependent people. Don't have any personal responsibility. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Just vote me in. I'll take from the people that have, and I'll give it to you. But in order to do that, you got to vote me in, and all my friend cronies in here too. We'll pass legislation. We'll tax these guys to the hilt. And right. What did that guy say run for president? We're going to tax the hell out of you. What was the little guy running for president? He was one of the 11, one of the first ones to drop out the Democratic platform this year. We're going to tax the hell out of you is one of the things he was saying. And one of his closing remarks, I'll look him up if it's worth it to you guys.
Booty Judge?
I don't know if it was Booty. No, I don't think it's Booty Judge. It's another guy. Maybe.
It was about 50.
But that's what he said. We're going to tax the hell out of you. What are you saying? How do you tell somebody that's successful, that's what all these successful people, I ain't never got a job from a broke person. You telling the people that are hiring folk, you're telling people that are innovative, that are people that are keeping folk, paying them to work, feeding their families and all that, we're going to tax you more. Well, who you think they're going to pass that down to? They're going to cut the cost of the product. They're going to cut the quality of the product, or they're going to cut the workers. If they cut the quality of the product, but the other person has a better quality, then they're going to lose out that way. Yeah. So what they're going to do, they're going to cut the workers because they raise the price and other people aren't raising the prices, then they're going to lose out the market that way. If everybody raises the price, then the citizens still lose on that way because now you still can't afford the product. So you can't keep saying that you're going to tax these folk and think that it's going to be okay. How about you politicians teach us how to become rich like you did? How did you get so rich, Mr. Biden? How did you get so rich, Mr. Obama? You know, why don't you
That
teach
was
those
shady stuff right
yeah,
there.
I'm saying, why don't you
That was all
teach
shady.
how? I'm just saying, you can tell us how to take care. You can tell us that you can take care of us. You can tell us how we're supposed to invest our money, how we're supposed to decide on the healthcare, how we're supposed to decide on education, what we're supposed to learn, what skills we're supposed to have. You can tell us all this stuff. Are you telling me you can't tell us where you learned it and then teach us so we can all be independent, so we can all grow? What's the saying? A rising tide raises all ships, right?
Yeah.
So how come this ship ain't raising? Why you got to raise my ship? So if you really care about it, goes back to what I'm saying. I'm looking for a candidate that just says it is your personal responsibility to be successful. My job as a politician is to make sure the path is clear. You're not discriminated against. Nothing's happened to you wrong. You get a fair share like everybody else. And then you need to get out of my way. That's all you're supposed to do as a politician. But that's not what I'm hearing. And that's the problem that we have with so many people, especially these folk that are so used to not having anything, and they want to blame somebody else for stuff they didn't do. They didn't take the time to get educated. They decide to make choice in their lives or do things that didn't get them where they want to be, and they want to blame somebody else. No, stop what you're doing and make some changes in your life. Don't depend on the politician to come take for somebody else and say, hey, I'm going to give to this guy now because he is successful. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. Clear the path, make sure it's fair, and then say, go for yours. Right. If you can come up with a product and some luck and start a business, great. If you got a skill and you maintain yourself, great. If you can't, then of course, if something falls down, something goes awry, we got your back because we got enough money. Look out, we look out for each other. But it is a lookout. It's not something for you to just sit down and say, okay, I'm done trying. I'm going to let the rest of the country take care of me. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Right. I think there's not enough people who believe in the economic upward mobility of individuals themselves. They think that the government's job is to take care of you. They think the government's job is to raise your children, to educate your children. Your only responsibility is to go along with it.
Yeah.
You know, you have no responsibility in that to say, you know what, it's my responsibility to get my finances in order and get my life together. It's not my responsibility to raise my children or educate my children. It's the government's responsibility. So you have to look at those people through the side eye. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're not serious individuals. And unfortunately, we have a lot of unserious individuals in this country who vote, and in this country, period. Who's you know, it is what it is. You can't help everybody.
It goes back.
You can try. You can put forth an effort to offer out that hand, to offer out that olive branch, or offer out that that helping hand. But if they don't reach back to grab it, there's nothing you can do about it. And you should never feel sorry of moving on.
No,
because there's someone else out there who will take your hand.
Yeah.
There's someone else out there who's looking for that hand from someone to say, hey, show me the way. Show me how to build a business. Show me how to, learn this trade. Show me how to be a better father, to be a better husband. You see what I'm saying? There's people out there who are looking for those hands. So when you got it out there and that person won't accept it and they don't want to take it, you can't feel ashamed or feel bad about saying, you know what, deuces, and go out to the individual who is willing to put that hand out there and to accept what you're offering and that help that you're offering, because you can't live for other people. You can't. I can't never. I tell my son, I'm saying, like all my sons and my daughter, I can't want better for you than you want for yourself. It doesn't work that way. You've got to want better for yourself. You've got to want to do the right things. You've got to want to do things that's going to make you successful. I can't just want that for you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have too many people who are stuck in that mode where they just, they want someone to be the any and everything for them, where they don't have to actually put in any of the work. Any of the work.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the laws that we have on the books. That's why we have the society that we have. That's why we have the craziness in our overall society. right now. And back to Joe Biden, when we're talking about him specifically, when you're talking about, look at the Little Waynes, you look at the 50 Cents, you look at the Ice Cubes with the plan. Now, he didn't endorse nobody. Let me make sure I keep saying that, because there's still a lot of people out there thinking he endorsed Donald Trump. He didn't endorse anybody, but he just came up with a plan. So you look at these individuals, and you look at the flack that they have gotten for just daring to be different, the daring to speak out and say, even with Ice Cube speaking out saying, hey, you told me to wait till after the election. So you're telling this man to wait till after the election. You have the Roland Martins, you have the other black individuals in media, and you have a lot of the mob that's out there saying Joe Biden can't do nothing for black people. He ain't elected president. Joe Biden can't. Yeah, he told Ice Cube to wait. What he's supposed to do for him right now? What does he do yesterday or the day before yesterday?
He said he going to, in the first 100 days, he going to do something for the LGBTQ community.
Got the LGBTQ.
He going to look out for them.
Covered. Got him covered.
Vote for me. I got you.
Vote for me. I got you covered. First 100 days, I got you covered. How come he couldn't do that to black people?
Because he don't care, and you Negroes are going to vote for a Democrat regardless. He ain't got to ask for much. He ain't got to give you nothing. He ain't never gave you nothing, and you still vote for him anyway. So why change? Why change?
Absolutely.
Like you say, he got you lock, stock, and barrel.
Got you lock, stock, and he ain't got to offer you nothing now because he know you going to vote for him any damn way.
And he going out offering other people stuff, and you voting for him. He ain't said nothing about what he going to do for you.
Nothing. You got to wait till after the election till he get in.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these gatekeepers, like I said, the individuals who listen. Roland Martin is the worst. He is by far the worst. The worst to talk about any black man doing something wrong to the Democratic Party, but he's always the loudest voice. Here's a dude who literally shucked and jived on stage with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Literally. We got the receipts for it. Yeah. Video evidence of it, of him shucking and jiving on stage with Hillary Clinton. But you got nerve to talk bad about 50 Cent and Ice Cube? Really? Or Lil Wayne? You got the nerve to try to down talk them? Are you serious? Come on, man. Let's be for real. These guys are. You gotta start looking at the policy of the individuals who are running for office. You got to get out of this. You know, these people are racist. Everyone over here is racist. These people, no one cares about you. You got to start looking at the policies, and more important, you got to hold the politicians accountable. Whether you vote for them or not, you got to hold politicians accountable. Either that's speaking out against them when they get into office and they're not doing what they said that they was going to do, or the ones that you do vote for, making sure you're holding their feet to the fire to do the things that they promised that they, or even not even promised, but said that they was going to try to do it. You said you were going to try to do this. Where's it at? We ain't seen no plan yet. We ain't seen no this, that, and the third. You know, it ain't gonna be no next time.
See,
you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's what it is. That's what it is. So your final prediction. Final prediction.
Donald Trump takes it not by a landfall, but by enough. He's going to get elected. It's going to be, they're going to drag it out until December. And probably even before that, it's going to be some challenges in court, and it's going to get ugly. It's probably going to be some rioting going on tomorrow night when the numbers come in that they don't want to hear. And it's going to be, again, I think it's going to be ugly, but I think that Donald Trump, when it's all said and done, will be president again for the next 4 years.
What about this? What about the Senate and the House?
I think everything will stay the same. I don't think that the Republicans are going to gain control of the House, and I think that they will maintain the Senate.
I agree with you. I think Trump closes it out on election night. I think he hits 280, and that's going to be his magic number, and it's going to be a done deal. Election night, of course. I think there are going to be individuals who complain and try to make it bad and try to make it worse, and no, he didn't really get that. So I think there's going to be a little issue. I don't think it's going to be as bad as individuals make it out to be as far as the election is concerned.
Right.
the craziness outside of the election on the streets, that's a different story, which we didn't really get into that with the individuals boarding in all these cities. Ms. Doris talked about a little bit, people boarding up in DC and Detroit and Chicago and Los Angeles and New York City. But why would you be boarding up liberal cities if a Republican wins? Republicans ain't going out there to tear up your stuff. Republican voters ain't going in DC and Chicago and tearing up Detroit because if Donald Trump loses, you know that, like I know that. So that tells you all about the voters that you need to any damn way. But anyway, I think the Senate will remain in Republican hands. I think they may pick up one seat. I think John James out of Michigan is going to win. And I think, what's her name? Martha McSally out in Arizona will defeat Kelly.
Yeah.
That's his name. He used to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because Buzz Aldrin, the other astronaut, he actually endorsed McSally. So I think she's going to gain that seat or win that seat. The House is going to stay the same. The Republicans may pick up a few seats in the House. But I don't think it's going to be enough to actually get the majority. So you're still going to be looking at a Republican Senate and a Democratic House with a Republican president. And, it's going to be what we've had the last 4 years, or last 2 years. Since Republicans lost in 2016. It's going to be what we've had the last 2 years.
So more arguing and nothing getting done, really?
More arguing and nothing getting done. And I think you'll see, if that is the case, I think you'll see a lot more executive orders from President Trump.
But then again, so he's trying to, I'm not big on executive orders. You're trying to bypass
I'm not big
Congress.
on executive orders either. I think they're
trying to bypass Congress. You executive orders, you're trying to make laws. That's not what you do.
No, I agree with you 100%. I'm not big on executive orders at all. I think Congress should legislate and, do their thing and send it to the president's desk and let the president sign it. But, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
It's not the way it works. So we'll see. We will certainly see.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard us talk about this, and what we think, and how you feel. We appreciate you guys coming over here. Check it out, Christian. You see that? Congratulations.
Get 100 messages a day. We appreciate y'all chatting with us. We appreciate y'all calling in.
Definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We certainly do. We appreciate y'all calling in and chatting with us and engaging with us on the chat board and on the and via telephone on the different platforms, from Periscope to Facebook to YouTube to Twitch to the whole 9 yards. We appreciate y'all out there. So thank you very much. And the next time we see y'all, we will have either the same president or a new president. We will see.
We'll see. Well, we'll definitely see again. I don't think it's going to be determined on tomorrow night, but we'll see tomorrow night. But it's going to be a long night for these political pundits. I know them guys, they need to be getting their sleep tonight. They're loading up on their no-dos and their coffee. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. Yeah. All right, so guys, if you haven't voted, tomorrow's the last day. The precincts open at 7 from 7 to 7. So make sure if you go tomorrow, it's not the early voting type voting you can do. You can't go any place. You have to go to your precinct.
Go to your precinct.
Take your ID. Avoid all those problems. If you don't know what your precinct is, go to your supervised elections. Go to your supervised elections website right now. Type in the address that they have listed for you on your voter registration, and they will tell you what precinct to go to. That way you can avoid delays. Go straight there and do what you need to do.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So anything else for the good of the order?
No, that's it, man. Y'all have a good night and be safe tomorrow, and, go exercise that right to vote.
Exercise it. Do that. All right. Have a good night. Thanks again.
Peace.
Peace.